What happens when a man who once had it all refuses to let go of his power? Diddy's world is crumbling, his freedom is slipping, and his last desperate move might just destroy everything he's trying to save. Shock new filing. Guys, the Diddy trial is not over. Just when we thought the drama had finally ended, Diddy is spiraling minute by minute. Hey guys, it's Mad Morali, daily and consistent content. Let's get straight into it. Join Morad Nation and subscribe right now because what's happening with Diddy is wild. So, he's officially filing that appeal. Yep, Diddy wants out before his 4-year sentence even runs its course. And honestly, why? He's set to be out by Christmas next year, or mid-2027 at the latest. You'd think he'd just ride it out, but no, he's trying to fight it. He wasn't even given a decade, just 4 years, and that can even be reduced through programs and good behavior. But instead of taking that as a win, Diddy's lawyers have officially filed new legal documents in federal court in New York, confirming that he's appealing his conviction. The notice was filed Monday with Alexandra Shapiro listed as lead counsel, and her team plans to file their appeal brief within 4 to 6 weeks, meaning before the year ends we'll see their full argument. And yes, that's the same Alexandra who's pregnant. So why she's leading this case right now is a mystery to everyone. But either way, this means new court dates, possibly early next year. Diddy was convicted on 2 charges of transportation across state lines, though acquitted on the more serious counts, and he's still being held at the MDC waiting for prison assignment. His lawyers have asked for him to serve time at FCI Fort Dix, but the judge suggested keeping him close to New York since he'll need to make more court appearances now that he's appealing. Honestly, this whole appeal screams desperation. He's legally allowed to appeal, sure, but it's giving delusion. The man is acting like 4 years is a life sentence. The performance he put on during sentencing, tears, remorse, pretending to have changed, it's all looking fake now. His team even shaded the judge after the verdict, calling him a 13th juror. And now they're running back asking for leniency? Come on. This move doesn't show accountability or growth. It shows ego, arrogance, and a man who can't accept consequences. He wants out because he misses the Miami life, the parties, the freedom, the control. This is about pride, not justice. He wants to reclaim power, not reflect on what he's done. And honestly, even if by some miracle he wins this appeal, what does he expect? A reduced sentence? Immediate release? It's unrealistic, and when the briefing drops in a few weeks, I guarantee we'll see pure delusion in those pages. Diddy needs to humble himself, serve his time, and stop performing for public sympathy. He had a chance to take accountability after Cassie, but then Jane's story came, and it exposed that nothing changed. It's ego, it's showmanship, it's manipulation. Meanwhile, YouTuber Tasha K is now claiming that doctors are trying to diagnose Nicki Minaj with schizophrenia, saying insiders close to her told her this diagnosis could lead to conservatorship, where her husband Kenneth Petty would gain control over her affairs. Now that's a whole different storm because if true, it explains her erratic rants and paranoia online, but it's still incredibly private information to be discussing publicly. Mental illness in the industry is serious, and if Nicki truly has schizophrenia, I hope she gets proper help from doctors she can trust. But it's also true that in the entertainment world, people can manipulate situations like this for power or control. There's talk of people around her exploiting her, stealing money, and causing chaos in her team. It's messy and sad. Still, the stigma around mental illness, especially in Black and brown communities, is huge. People often don't want to get checked, and when they do, they fear it'll be used against them. Whatever's happening with Nicki, I just hope she gets genuine support, not exploitation. But circling back, Diddy, relax with this appeal because all signs point to failure. You're not walking free. You're not beating this case. Serve your 4 years, take it as a blessing, and stop embarrassing yourself with these desperate legal moves. The briefing will be out in a few weeks, and when it drops, we'll break it all down. Subscribe now because this next chapter is going to be chaotic, and you won't want to miss it. And now, guys, buckle up because the deeper we go into this Diddy saga, the more chaotic it gets. This appeal might sound like a strategic legal move on paper, but behind the scenes, insiders are saying it's pure panic mode. Diddy is not sleeping well, his ego is cracked, and his team is scrambling to find loopholes that could shave time off his sentence. Remember, this is a man who was once untouchable, living in mansions, hosting elite parties, running bad boy records. And now he's sitting in a cell at the MDC thinking about how to flip the system that finally caught up with him. Sources say he's furious about the public narrative, the headlines, the memes, and especially the way people have started celebrating his downfall. That's what's really driving this appeal. It's not justice, it's image control. He wants to rewrite the story, to make it look like he's being treated unfairly, when in reality, the evidence was stacked against him. His sentencing performance was just another act in the Diddy show. Tears for sympathy, a trembling voice for pity, and that fake remorse to sway the judge. But the second he walked out of that courtroom, reports say he was already talking about reclaiming his name. That's not healing or growth, that's PR. And now this appeal is just Act 2 of that same performance. The crazy part? His team is divided. Some of his old allies are distancing themselves quietly, saying they're done defending him. The music industry folks who once sang his praises are suddenly silent. No more brother love, no more motivational speeches. Just radio silence. And it's not just because of the legal case, it's because the public no longer buys the narrative. The mask is slipping. This man built his empire on control, fear, and power, and now that's gone, he doesn't know how to function without it. The fact that he's fighting this so publicly shows that he's not letting go of that control. He wants to remind everyone that he still has influence, that he still has lawyers, that he still has money. But power without peace is useless, and that's exactly what he's showing the world. Meanwhile, word around legal circles is that Judge Arun isn't the one to play with. This judge has been described as sharp, firm, and unimpressed by celebrity antics. So walking back into that courtroom to say, "I want an appeal," after shading him in the press? Bold but dumb. This could backfire fast because judges don't forget disrespect. They don't forget arrogance. And Diddy's lawyers are about to find that out the hard way. His best move right now would have been to lay low, serve his time, and plan his comeback quietly. But instead, he's feeding the same cycle that destroyed his image in the first place: ego, denial, and the illusion of control. And speaking of illusion, fans online are dragging him. Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit threads are brutal. They're saying things like he's trying to appeal his way out of karma, and you can't charm your way out of this one. Even former collaborators are throwing shade through subliminal posts and lyrics. The vibe is clear. Diddy is on an island by himself now. The empire is cracking, the walls are closing in, and all that's left is a man desperate to escape the consequences he spent decades avoiding. But let's be real, this isn't just about Diddy. It's about the pattern. The powerful always think they can twist justice to fit their narrative. They think fame equals freedom, that money equals mercy. But when those walls close in, the truth always comes out. Diddy's appeal is not just a legal move, it's a mirror reflecting his downfall in real time. And the way it's playing out, it looks less like redemption and more like the final act of a man who can't accept that his time at the top is over. So what happens next? In the next few weeks, once Alexandra Shapiro's team files that brief, we'll see exactly what Diddy's argument is. Whether it's a plea for reduced time, claims of unfair trial conditions, or even attempts to throw his old associates under the bus to save himself. But mark my words, this next chapter is going to be messy. The headlines are about to explode, social media is going to light up again, and the industry will once more be forced to face how deep Diddy's shadow really runs. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and stay tuned, because this story is far from over, and the drama that's coming might just be the most explosive yet. Now here's where things get even darker, guys, because behind this shiny appeal announcement, insiders are whispering that Diddy's team is falling apart from the inside out. Multiple sources close to the situation claim there's tension, mistrust, and a full-blown blame game happening behind the scenes. Some of his legal advisors are allegedly frustrated that he didn't take their original advice to just accept the 4 years, stay quiet, and focus on early release programs. But no, Diddy's ego couldn't handle the idea of silence. He wants headlines, attention, control. This appeal isn't about justice, it's about image rehab. He wants to convince the public that he's being unfairly targeted, that this whole case is political, personal, or a witch hunt. But when you peel back the layers, it's really just one thing: desperation. And the people around him are starting to see that. Reports say that Diddy's inner circle has shrunk dramatically since sentencing. The same people who used to post his pictures, attend his parties, and praise his visionary energy are nowhere to be found. His phone calls are being monitored, his visitors limited, and his lawyers are the only real connection he has to the outside world now. Even some of his family members are allegedly keeping their distance, choosing peace over the circus. It's giving isolation. And that isolation is driving him mad. Sources say he's been restless, pacing, overanalyzing every move, obsessed with every headline about him. The walls are closing in, and instead of self-reflection, he's plotting strategy. Classic Diddy behavior. Meanwhile, let's talk about the bigger picture. This appeal could open up a Pandora's box. Once this process starts, all the case files, testimonies, and sealed details could resurface in court again. And you know what that means? More media coverage, more witnesses, and possibly even new allegations. Diddy's team might think they're fighting for freedom, but they're also risking exposing even more of the secrets that were buried during trial. It's a gamble. A big one. And people are questioning whether Diddy has really thought this through. Because if new information surfaces, it could make his situation way worse. Instead of reducing his sentence, he could end up facing new charges or more civil suits. And speaking of civil suits, don't forget that there are still ongoing investigations circling around his business dealings and those infamous parties. Just because he's behind bars doesn't mean the spotlight has dimmed. There are still lawsuits being prepared, people coming forward, and quiet settlements happening behind closed doors. It's chaos, and this appeal might just reignite interest from law enforcement who are already watching closely. If anything, it's like Diddy himself just flipped the switch back on the drama. Now let's talk about how the internet is reacting. Twitter's having a field day, TikTok creators are dissecting every document, and YouTube is filled with breakdowns of his new legal strategy. Fans are divided, some are saying he's fighting for his rights, while others are calling it a pathetic last attempt to avoid accountability. And honestly, looking at his history, the latter seems more accurate. Diddy built his career on controlling narratives, music, media, image, but he can't control this one. This is real life. The courts don't care about celebrity status or fame. They care about facts, and the facts got him convicted. But here's the real twist. Some insiders believe this appeal isn't even about winning legally. They say it's a psychological move, a tactic to buy time. If he appeals, the process stretches on for months, maybe even years, giving him a sense of power again, keeping him relevant in headlines, and distracting the public from the fact that his empire is crumbling. It's control through chaos. And that's always been Diddy's style. Stir things up so people forget the truth. At the end of the day, though, time doesn't stop. The industry is moving on without him. New artists are taking over. Brands are cutting ties. The money isn't flowing like it used to. The silence around his name in entertainment circles says everything. The machine that once protected him is gone. This appeal might be the last gasp of a fallen mogul trying to remind the world who he was. But the world has already moved on. And as we wait for that appeal brief to drop, just know, it's going to be messy, dramatic, and full of spin. But no matter how it's worded, one truth remains. Accountability always comes for everyone, even the powerful. So grab your popcorn, guys, because this isn't the end of the Diddy saga. It's just the next chaotic chapter in a downfall that refuses to quit. Subscribe, comment your thoughts, and stay tuned because the next part of this story might just break the internet. And here's where the story takes an even wilder turn. Because people close to the situation are saying Diddy's state of mind right now is not good. He's reportedly frustrated, paranoid, and convinced that people inside his own camp are betraying him. There are whispers that he's been cutting off communication with certain longtime associates, accusing them of leaking details to the press. Sources claim he's even turned suspicious of some of his legal team, demanding to know who's been feeding the media. It's giving meltdown energy, pure panic. The once confident mogul who ruled every room now spends most of his time behind closed doors, pacing, replaying every moment of the trial, and calling his lawyers multiple times a day for updates. People inside the facility are saying he looks tense, withdrawn, and obsessed with controlling a story that's already out of his hands. This is the fall of a man who once thought he was untouchable. The same Diddy who could throw million-dollar parties, make a call, and have people bending over backward, now has no control over what happens next. That's the part he can't stand, the loss of power. His whole life has been about dominance, about being the one pulling the strings, and now he's realizing the system doesn't care about who you are. You can feel the frustration building, the disbelief that he's actually in this position. And according to insiders, that's exactly why he's doubling down on the appeal, because accepting it means admitting he lost. And Diddy doesn't lose. At least, that's what he tells himself. But let's not forget, this appeal opens him up to major risk. By going back to court, he's giving prosecutors another chance to bring up details that didn't make it into the original trial. Think about that. There are witnesses, recordings, and sealed testimonies that could potentially come back into play. His lawyers know this, and that's why some of them reportedly didn't even want to file the appeal so soon. But Diddy insisted. He doesn't care about the risk. He wants control of the narrative again. He's gambling with his own future just to save face. Meanwhile, social media isn't buying it. The public's reaction is brutal. People are calling this appeal a clown move, saying things like, Diddy's ego is stronger than his common sense, and he can't PR spin his way out of a prison cell. The internet has zero sympathy left for him. Every time his name trends, the comments are savage. There's no more loyalty from fans, no more benefit of the doubt. Just collective exhaustion from years of scandals, rumors, and denial. The world watched this man rise, and now they're watching him fall in real time. And instead of showing humility, he's doubling down on the arrogance that got him here. But the most chilling part? Insiders are saying he's already trying to rebuild his image from inside prison. That's right, he's allegedly been drafting letters, sending messages through intermediaries, and brainstorming ways to tell his side, once this appeal is underway. There's even talk of a possible documentary pitch or memoir, because of course, in Diddy's mind, every downfall is just another comeback story waiting to happen. But the truth is, this isn't a redemption arc, it's a cautionary tale. A story about power, pride, and the illusion of invincibility finally crashing down. And remember, every time someone powerful tries to fight accountability, it never ends quietly. This appeal could spark another wave of witnesses coming forward, new stories resurfacing, and fresh headlines that keep his name tied to controversy for years to come. It's not just a legal move, it's a ticking time bomb. If his lawyers think they can control the chaos, they're wrong. Because once that appeal hits the court, everything Diddy wanted to keep buried could come spilling out in front of the entire world again. So yeah, buckle up, because this next phase isn't just about the courtroom. It's about legacy, exposure, and the final cracks in an empire that's been shaking for years. The illusion of control is slipping away, and all that's left is the truth. Subscribe now, turn on those notifications, and stay locked in, because when this appeal brief drops, it's going to shake the entire industry once more.